Nuncio for Zambia and Malawi, the new Bishop of Monze, Bishop Mweempwa, President of the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, Archbishop Chan, Catholic bishops that are present here, Archbishop Emeritus of the Archbishop of Livingstone, Right Reverend Raymond Kezele, Bishop Emeritus is here, of Master Diocese, Andrew Aaron Chisha, Bishop Emeritus of Monze, Emmanuel. The list is long. Of course, Apostolic Administrator of this Archdiocese. The leadership of the Catholic Church, priests, fathers, in its entirety, members of the clergy from other churches that may be present here today at this wonderful ceremony. Provincial Minister who has invited me to speak here, the Member of Parliament for Monze Centre, Honorable Mweempwa, who happens to be Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Minister of Community Development, Honorable Mamba, members of Parliament that are present here, other civic leaders, Provincial Chairman of UPND, and other political parties that are here. This our country is a democracy, and we recognize all the political leaders that are here, the traditional leaders that are present here, indeed, invited guests, the press, media, very important, very important. Without them, this wonderful ceremony would not be viewed by the millions that have viewed it already and will continue until it concludes. So they're very important. Residents of Monze and those that have to travel from far, and I see faces, village boys here, and girls from all the directions. We grew up in this town, so we know many of you. Actually, in the village, we are new in town. We're so delighted today to be invited to this worship service where we all come to witness the consecration of Bishop Raphael Mweempwa. Allow us first and foremost, leaders of our great Catholic Church, to congratulate His Lordship, Bishop Raphael Mweempwa, at his elevation to the office of the Bishop of the Diocese of Monze. Congratulations, Your Lordship. Many reminded me that you were young, and we heard from Archbishop Chan. Yes, we are called to duty at different ages. Many of us remember that our first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, Super Kenneth, was only 39 years old when he became president of our great country. Only 39. So Bishop Mweempwa, this is God's age. God called you to be bishop of this diocese at your age, it's God's decision, and it's the right decision. We congratulate you for that. I won't say much around issues of you being a child of this diocese, because that may be misinterpreted by some. But simply to say that serving the community where you were raised can be a challenge, because some will remember you as a young child, and the habits of a young person at that time may be remembered when you are such a grown-up person and you are serving them as our bishop. Sometimes locals expect too much from one of them, but you've said it already. Let God's word be the way that you run this diocese. You are now the 5th bishop of this beautiful diocese, which this year celebrates 60 years. 60 years since its establishment. Those before you did a lot of work, a lot of good work. I remember as a young person in the village, 40 kilometers west of where we are, we aspired that when our time to go to secondary school came, we had only one choice of secondary school to go to, around here, St. Canisius. That was our aspiration. It's because that school has been well run by the Catholic Church, and we thank the Church for that, for years. And we also aspired, if our first choice was not available, if you are male, you aspire to go to St. Edmund's in Monze, another institution of the Catholic Church. Fantastic institution. I don't know now. In our time, it was wonderful. If you're female, you aspire to go to St. Joseph's, Chibuna, another institution. So, my message is that this church has done tremendous work in this country. And this particular diocese, and those that came before you, Bishop Mweempwa, worked very hard to keep this reputation. And we know, we believe that with God's help, you will walk through the steps that those who came before you followed. God is with you. God is good, and all the time. I want to indicate something that has been touched on already. I was going to spend a lot of time, not a lot, just a bit of time on it, but I shall not, because the speakers before me touched on it. You, Bishop Mweempwa, touched on it, and I will angle it slightly different. Leadership comes in many ways, in many forms. Platforms are different. But it calls for one thing: service to the people. Service to God's people. Not someone else's people, but to God's people. And God created this diversity in His people, but they are all His people. And when we seek public office, for us, in the political area, we are conscious that it's a call to serve the people, God's people. And the church too, as you rightly say, is serving the same God's people. Ironic, isn't it? We may come from different angles. We may occupy different offices, but we're serving the one body of Christ. In that case, we can never be, and we should never view each other as competitors. Never. We are complementary. We are partners. We may come from the right, or the left, or the rear, or the front. Very unlikely will come from the top because only one leads there. So we are complementary. And I want to call on my colleagues in cabinet, my colleagues in the local governments, that never should we view the church, this our Catholic Church, or other churches, as our enemies. Aren't we a Christian nation? How can a Christian harbor an enemy against another? Strange, not possible, isn't it? So I ask the government in its integrity to work with this church. You didn't hear me. I ask the new Dawn government, and hopefully those who follow after us, not to be in conflict with the church, but to work with the church. Up there, before the function started, we had a brief conversation and talked about this beautiful building, this landmark building that the church has put up. And it's our duty in government to assist the church completely speaking. It's their building. It's their building. But their building is our building. It is the center of worship for the very people that we serve. How can we be different? How can we be detached from such a project? Not possible. Certainly not possible. We also talked about different challenges that the diocese faces. And I'm very grateful to Bishop Mweempwa. He ran us through a very quick list of the challenges that this diocese faces. At the end of what he said, I was asked to comment. I said, that list, Bishop Mweempwa, appears to be our list. Where did you get it from? Water, Monze Hospital. Industrial program at Monze Hospital. Church has done its part. I think such things, it is us in government, local government, now that we've allocated resources to the local areas, such as CDA, we must prioritize water for this hospital. And there is money, Bishop Mweempwa, there is money for that. We've already set the money. I'm not here to offer instructions. I'm here to remind the councillor of this ward, Urban Ward here, to remind the chairman of the council, and many others who sit on the CDF committee, and the honorable member of parliament who happens to be a very senior minister in this government. That shall we prioritize some, if not all, of the items that are on the list. I asked Bishop Mweempwa for a copy, and one of his colleagues, I think he's seated over there. Thank you, my dear brother. You can stand up. You can wave at me. Thank you very much. I asked for the list, and he said we've already handed in the list. So I request that the civic leaders, parliament, police, and if necessary, cabinet, we look at that list. But cabinet doesn't have to. It is a local leader. That's the new arrangement under this government, to take resources to the local areas, and the local areas decide their priorities, but we support them with the funding. That's done. That is done. You heard me. That is done. Luckily, the Minister of Community Development was also seated with me in that small caucus, and one or two items on the list squarely sit in her ministry. And I reminded her that please pick it up. She will pick it up. I do not want to say no. I will say, or those who will be present at the official opening of this church, during the church, will say those things. So I will spare today's gathering from expressing my delight on the beauty, functionality, and basically sustainability of this building. Congratulate those who got involved from an early stage. The contractors told me that they were able to deliver to this stage within time. I think we learned from there, those of us who said about too much bureaucracy. Too much bureaucracy. We delay projects because of bureaucracy. Let's learn from the bishop and the team how they were able to cut the bureaucracy. You see, church, we are learning from you. So we learn from you. We are partners. We are two partners. Thank you for the generosity, selflessness, for serving as a church now, the people of Monze, the people of this region, and the people of this country. I ask for one thing repeated, first been said. I heard Bishop Mweempwa say it round and round. Unity. Unity. First in the church. This church. This Catholic church. Obviously, it's assumed this diocese and others. But also within the body of Christ. Unity is essential. We go to the Catholic Church sometimes because we were born in that area. If you were born in another area, you probably go to church that is prevalent, or, common in that area. So how can there be differences because we go to different churches? There should be. The body of Christ is one. Unity within this our church, within various churches, and also in the country. This government, Bishop Mweempwa, has taken a decision that we will work on reuniting our country because God gave us this diversity, and I heard you use this expression, and we intend to ensure that we have unity and diversity in this our country. And equity, fairness are cardinal to achieving unity. Please serve the people of Monze, Catholic, and outside the church, Catholic Church, other religious organizations, even those that keep cattle like us. And I'm very impressed with the church. I was whispering to Madam Mamba that one of the critical aspects, I don't think the church has paid attention to it, maybe you have, that this church has managed to do is to adapt to local issues, to local culture. So when you brought in Ngoma ya Bugami, that injile kukwenye. Because that's how I grew up. Mpetaile, Ndala ya Bugami. Adaptation to local cultures, I think this church has done very well. Other churches can learn from the Catholic Church. Distinguished guests, fellow worshippers, we only have one country called Zambia. Let us all join hands to keep Zambia one. One Zambia, one nation. One nation, one people. I shall repeat that. One Zambia, one nation, truly we are one people. Finally, congratulations again to your Lordship, Bishop Raphael Mweempwa. Actually, the correct pronunciation is not Mweempwa, it's Mweempwa. Mweempwa on your consecration, and thank you all for coming to worship and witness this character day. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Mr. President. Now the President is going to present his gifts to Bishop Mweempwa.
Mr. President, this gift which has been presented to the Bishop is called an extended family. The black 3 toes signify a nuclear family in an African context. Then the white 2 toes signify an extended family. Africans have been known to live in an extended way of life where society is made up of extended family. But with the coming of Western culture, our African way of life has more or less been dwindling, and we've been getting the Western way of doing things. So this act is more or less reminding us that we should stick together as extended family, the way we've been living over centuries in this country. So, Mr. President, thank you very much.
Now it's time for the final blessing.